Hi everybody, this is Agent here. I was going to give you a video of how I install my OEM Honda Centerstand on my NC700X, and just wanted to walk you through it step by step as to how I would do it. And first things first, got the handy dandy instructions from Honda. I got my torque wrench, my 12 millimeter open end wrench, got a 12 I can't even say the word right. Got a 12 socket, got a 5 hex head. The rubber mallet is for me. It's not recommended in the instructions, but you never know when you might need a little force. I got all the parts laid out here so I could find them real easy. Got some grease and got a dishwater solution as recommended. So we're going to get started here. Step 1. Remove the muffler bolts, washers, and nut as shown. So we're going to take this guy out. There's another one down here it looks like we're going to take out. So we'll go ahead and see how this works. I like to put my nut back on the bolt so I can keep everything together. And then this guy down here, I guess that's just so we can get a little more play in the muffler there so we can get our stuff in correctly. Alright. Step 1. Complete. Up next it says install the spring hook. So I'll come over here and get my spring hook and be ready to install it. I've already set my torque wrench to the 16 foot-pounds that it calls for. Alright, we're going to put our spring hook right in this hole right here. It's kind of hard to get a shot of that, but that's where we're going to put it. And it doesn't say anything about wet or dry torque, so since it doesn't say it, we're just going to use dry and hope it works out alright. The reason you had to take out the muffler bolts was, I guess, simply for a clearance issue. You get a little more room to work whenever you have them out. So I'll get it started there and run it in as far as I can with my fingers. It's kind of tight, but God gave me small hands, so we'll just count that as a blessing. Alright, I guess y'all are learning with me, if you haven't already done this yourself, because I did need an extension to get in here and get to this spring hook. There we go. Alright. 16 foot-pounds right there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, part number 3 here, after we got our spring hook installed and our muffler loose and all that fun stuff, is to put this guy on. So number 3 says apply dish soap to the rubber stopper in the area shown, and it shows right there. So what I'm going to do, I've got my soap solution here. I'm just going to put a little bit there. Alright, got soap on it. Alright, so we'll see how this works. It says apply it in like that. But, oh, there she goes. Alright, well, it wasn't that bad.
Just pop it in a little hole there, and there we go. That is step 4. Install the rubber stop in the position shown. So, up next, it says apply grease to the position shown on the center shaft stand. Don't fall off the workbench. Alright, center shaft stand says apply grease right in there. So, got my handy dandy tub of grease here. Next step involves putting this all together, so I'm going to clean up a little bit and then we'll put it on the bike. Alright, now we're down here. I've got this guy right here. It's going to hold it in place whenever I screw it together, and it's going to go right up in here. So get it started. Maybe. There it goes. Alright. Start feeding it through. Well, I said I would. So that's in there now. Hallelujah for that. And then we'll get this lined up. Give it a few tap tap tappies to make sure it goes all the way through. There it goes. Alright. That's where this comes in. Alright. Now once again, it says nothing about wet thread, dry threads, thread lock, nothing on the instructions about that. So once I get it going, we'll just torque it down. I'm going to change up my torque wrench here, and we're going to put it on 9 foot-pounds. They call it a 6mm socket bolt in one part of the instructions. They say you need a 5mm hex wrench. I have already checked. You do need the 5mm hex wrench. I don't know where the 6 came, if it's a misprint or what, but it's the 5 wrench that fits in this bolt. So however you want to call it, that's what we'll call it. Alright, there was the click. Checked it a couple of times. I'll tap that out of the way, loosen it up a little bit, and there we go. Alright, that part's done. Alright, next part says slide the small spring into the large spring as shown. So I'll go in from this end. Looks like it'll be a little bit easier to get everything lined up correctly. And that's pretty much what you end up with right there. Alright, so what I've got here is I take my springs and you hook them both to the spring hook that you installed earlier. Alright, I have a piece of 550 paracord here, the real stuff, not the cheap made in China stuff that doesn't really hold 550. But what I've done is, as per the suggestion on the for them. Tied it off to one of the spokes on the back wheel there. That knot's not going anywhere, and it should hold, because try as I might, just like everybody else, I cannot get it there. Maybe if I stood on it. Let's try that and see what happens. I'm just going to try it like everybody said. I'll roll the bike forward just a little bit. So I tried it with a piece of pipe, and I stood on it, put all my weight on it. It didn't pull it down any. So that's 155, 160 pounds that that spring is holding. So we'll have to figure out something new. Alright, so what I wound up doing was pulling the small spring down first, and now I'm going to try to go back and hook to the big spring and try to pull it by itself, because I got the small spring down. The problem with this is making sure it stays on the perch up there, and yeah, we'll see what happens. They're definitely serious about this darn spring. Alright, so I think I'm going to back up and punt. The instruction manual does say that if it's too hard to do it this way... Oh God, please don't let that come back in my hand. You can attempt to put the spring on the bottom end first, and then hook the top end with your, before you stick the pin through. So I think that's what I'm going to try now and see what happens. I'll go take that bolt out and see what happens. Alright, so what I just did was I took the rod out and I hooked the springs, and now I'm going to attempt to drive the rod back through using the leverage from the stand itself. And this again is where my handy dandy rubber mallet comes in. It is in. It is in. Hallelujah. What I'm going to do now is put this bolt back in this Allen head bolt here, and we'll torque it down and give it a test run. There's the click, And once again, that was at 9 pounds. So, yay! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like that works. We'll try it again in a second. Alright, last thing to do is put our bolts back in for the exhaust pipe and the muffler. I have looked through the service manual and I cannot find anything that says torque values except for a standard torque value that says a 12 millimeter bolt or nut should be tightened to 40 foot-pounds. I'm not going to do that. I've seen other exhaust pieces anywhere between 13 and 21, so I think what I'm going to do is just go snug it up and then hit 20 and keep an eye on them. Alright, there's 20 on that one. It seems to be in there alright. I don't want to get them too tight, but on the other hand, I don't want them to be too loose either. So I'm just going to snug them up and hit them with 20 foot-pounds and keep an eye on it. If anybody out there knows the real number for these, please let me know. Because 20 seems to be pinching that gasket pretty good, but if I need to back it off, I will. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it. This is my baby, and I like her. Last thing I forgot to do, I forgot to check it on the video, but there it is. It's up. It is working. Both springs are still holding, and it was a whole lot easier to get up than I thought it was going to be. So there we go. It's working.